declined the food but admitted she needed to go to the bathroom. Edith stood up immediately, offering to show her the way. As they walked away, Edith sang out that they were going to the bathroom. Archie watched them leave, wondering aloud if Floyd could have taught the girl to use a more sophisticated term for the facilities, like the ones used by educated people. Floyd replied that he did his best. Archie simply noted that he had missed the mark. Ties that bind. Archie told Floyd he might as well sit down. Floyd thanked him and then admitted he could use a drink. Archie, despite his initial grumpiness, agreed to find a bottle, though he joked that the visitor's thirst was making him thirsty as well. While Archie looked for the drinks, Floyd asked Edith if she liked kids. Edith responded with genuine warmth, saying she loved them. She pointed out that they had a child of their own, Gloria, and she showed Floyd a picture. She explained that Gloria was all grown up now and had a little boy named Joey, who was nearly 3 years old. Edith reminisced about singing lullabies to Joey and how he would fall asleep as soon as she stopped. She emphasized that they loved children, though she admitted that some people did not. Floyd mentioned Aunt Shirley from Brooklyn and Danvera from Hollis. Edith agreed that those two definitely did not like children and had even said so to her. Stephanie, who had returned from the bathroom, spoke up softly. She said she did not think her own mother liked kids much either. Edith was taken aback and told her she must not say that. Stephanie explained that when her mother went away, she did not take Stephanie with her. Edith tried to offer comfort, suggesting that maybe her mother wanted to, but simply could not. Stephanie shared the painful truth she had been told. The man her mother went with would not let her bring the child. Seeking a distraction from the heavy subject, Stephanie asked if she could see Gloria's room. Edith led her there, telling her she could even take a nap before dinner. She promised a very nice dinner because Stephanie was a very nice little girl. Back in the living room, Floyd turned to Archie with a hesitant look. He admitted that he hated to ask for help. Archie replied that it was good he felt that way because Archie hated to give it, especially if it involved money. Floyd clarified that it was not about money, which gave Archie a momentary sense of relief. However, Floyd then revealed his true request. He was hoping Archie and Edith could look after Stephanie for a couple of weeks until he got settled in Florida. He promised she would be no trouble at all. Archie told Floyd to stop kidding. He argued that Edith did not need a helpless child hanging around and demanding all her attention because she already had him to look after. Edith walked back into the room and asked what they were discussing. Archie bluntly explained that Floyd wanted to go to Florida and dump his child on them. Floyd pleaded that it would only be for 2 weeks, maybe 3. Archie told Edith to tell Floyd he was barking up the wrong tree. Instead, Edith smiled and said they would love to keep Stephanie. The great debate. Archie was stunned. He told Edith she was insane and repeated the sentiment to Floyd. He asked if they were nuts and told Edith not to act like one. He argued that they finally had a nice, peaceful life and he did not want to spoil it with another child. Floyd kept insisting it was a short-term arrangement. Archie told Edith to have pity on herself because she was an older woman and he was getting older fast himself. He claimed that children spoiled a person's life and they did not have much time left to enjoy. Stephanie, hearing the raised voices, came out of the room. She asked if they were getting thrown out again. Archie, in a moment of blunt honesty, confirmed that was exactly what was happening and told her to get her things. Edith was horrified and asked Floyd to stay for dinner. Floyd refused, saying people did not want to eat when their feelings were hurt. He told Edith he would manage and that he had everything worked out. He called for Stephanie and they headed for the door. Edith apologized to the girl, hoping they would see each other again soon. After they left, Archie tried to justify his actions to Edith. He told her not to give him that look. He said he was sorry he made her feel bad, but he was not sorry for what he did. He lectured her on the fact that when people bring children into the world, they have to raise them themselves. He argued that they would never do that if they could find kind and foolish relatives to do it for them. He claimed Floyd had learned a good lesson that day about not dumping responsibilities in their living room. His triumph was short-lived. Moments later, they heard a noise on the porch. Archie opened the door to find that Floyd had indeed learned a lesson, but not the one Archie intended. Floyd had left Stephanie and her suitcase on the porch and disappeared. Archie was frantic. He tried to call a relative named Waldo, asking him to take the kid for 2 weeks, but Waldo refused. Archie called him a lousy bum for not helping a helpless child. Edith told Archie that Stephanie was taking a nap. Archie realized they were running out of relatives to call. Edith said they just had to face the fact that they had a little girl on their hands for a few weeks. Archie searched his address book and found a name he had missed: Luella Lawson. He remembered she lived at Sunnyfield Farm in Utica. Edith pointed out that Sunnyfield Farm was a home for older people who were happy, not a place for kids. Archie realized they were at the bottom of the barrel and suggested calling the police to find out who to contact. Edith pleaded with him not to do that. The decision. Archie and Edith entered a tug-of-war over the telephone. Archie insisted he could not have the child in the house, while Edith refused to let him call the authorities. Archie worried about how it would look to the neighbors. Edith told him she was not ashamed. Eventually, Archie gave up the physical struggle but told Edith he would make the call from a bar or a gas station. He accused her of being ridiculous. Trying a different approach, Archie suggested they handle the disagreement like the government does, by taking a vote. Edith agreed. Archie voted that the child must go. Edith voted that she must stay. It was a tie. Archie then claimed that in the case of a tie, the president casts the deciding vote. He declared himself the president and cast the winning vote for Stephanie to leave. Edith simply asked if he really thought he was the president, noting she had not voted for him. Despite his official declaration, the reality of the situation began to set in. Edith started planning for the next 2 weeks. She mentioned needing to leave a note for the milkman for 2 extra quarts of homogenized milk and some yogurt. Archie, watching a hockey game on the television to distract himself, heard the announcer describing a violent play on the ice. He cheered for the home team player to give it to the opponent. Suddenly, Edith rushed into the room, her voice filled with panic. She told Archie that Stephanie was gone. Archie asked if her father had come back for her, but Edith explained that the girl had run away. She was out there all alone with her suitcase. Archie was struck by a sudden wave of genuine concern. He told Edith to call the police while he headed to the bus station, thinking she might be trying to get to Fort Lauderdale. At the bus station, Archie searched the crowds. He saw a young girl sitting behind a magazine and approached her. He told her she should not have run away because it made him look like he was in the wrong, which could get him in big trouble for contributing to the delinquency of a minor. Stephanie told him she would not tell on him. Archie joked about the police having ways of making people talk, like shining lights in their faces or knocking their dolls around. Stephanie asked what would happen to Archie if he got in trouble. He spun a dramatic tale of spending 10 years in prison and getting mowed down during a breakout. Stephanie asked what Edith would do without a husband, suggesting she might just get another one. Archie was offended, asking if she thought men like him were easy to replace. Stephanie mentioned her mother had found a replacement. Archie asked why her mother had left her father. Stephanie revealed her mother was tired of hearing his voice and looking at his face. Archie was quiet for a moment. He told Stephanie that a child should never be told the truth about their parents if it was unpleasant. He said her mother should have told her she was going away for her health. Stephanie then shared the finality of her situation. Her mother had been killed in a car accident. Archie's gruff exterior finally crumbled. He told Stephanie she could not take a bus because she only had a small amount of money. Stephanie explained that she hoped someone would notice her and take her to a children's shelter until her father came back. Archie looked at the small, lonely girl and made a choice. He told her they would call Edith and then go home together. He claimed he had been telling Edith all night how nice it would be to have a little girl around. Stephanie noted that was not what she had heard him say. Archie brushed it off as eavesdropping and offered to take her for a soda and some chewing gum. Stephanie asked for a new comic book too. Archie smiled, telling her not to look at anyone on the way out as they headed back to the warmth of the bunker home. The evening air in the living room was thick with a sense of nostalgia, a longing for a time that felt simpler and more certain. Archie Bunker sat near the piano, the familiar notes drifting through the house as a melody of the past took shape. It was a song about the way Glenn Miller played, and the songs that made the hit parade. In those days, Guys like Archie felt they had it made. Those were the days when you knew exactly where you stood. Girls were girls and men were men. It was a time that felt sturdy, like a well-built house, and Archie often thought that the world could truly use a man like Herbert Hoover again. Back then, there was no need for a welfare state because everybody pulled his weight. Even the old neighborhood of Los Alamos seemed to run great in the light of those memories. As the song faded, the reality of the present returned. Archie called out into the house, his voice carrying the gruff but familiar tone of a man who knew what he wanted. He announced that he was home and headed toward the kitchen. Edith was already there, moving with her usual frantic but well-intentioned energy. Archie was in a hurry. He wanted to eat fast because he was determined to catch the start of the Rangers and Blackhawks game on the television. But as he looked at the table, something felt wrong. He counted the place settings. 1, 2, 3. He looked at Edith, suspicious and slightly annoyed. He asked if they were having a deadbeat for dinner, noting that it was not a nice surprise. Edith sighed, her voice thin and apologetic. She told him that she hated it too, but they had company coming from Jersey. Archie groaned at the mention of the neighboring state. He remarked that he would rather see someone from Red China than someone from Jersey. He tried to guess who it could be. He asked if it was Aunt Tessie on his father's side, the one he remembered for having a mustache. Edith corrected him, explaining that Elizabeth Arden had taken care of the mustache long ago. However, it was not Aunt Tessie who was coming. It was not Elizabeth Arden either. After a confusing explanation involving step-cousins and removed relatives, Edith finally clarified that the visitor was Floyd. Floyd was Tessie's stepson from her second marriage. This made him a once-removed nephew-in-law to Archie's father and a twice-removed step-cousin-in-law to Archie himself. Archie was not impressed by the genealogical connection. He wanted to know what Floyd wanted. Usually, when distant relatives appeared, they wanted money. Edith assured him that Floyd was just passing through. Archie remained skeptical, comparing Floyd to Jesse James, who was also always just passing through. Edith tried to explain that Floyd had a very sad life, but Archie did not want to hear it. He wanted to avoid the drama entirely. The doorbell rang, and Floyd arrived sooner than expected. Edith urged Archie to be nice as she welcomed Floyd into the house. Floyd entered, looking a bit worn out, carrying bags and accompanied by a young girl. He complimented Edith, telling her she was a sight for sore eyes. Archie watched from the side as Floyd introduced the girl. This was Stephanie. Edith was surprised because she did not know Floyd was bringing a child. Floyd admitted he wanted it to be a surprise, to which Archie muttered that he knew there would be some kind of surprise. Edith remembered Stephanie as a little baby and marveled at how much she had grown. Archie, ever the pragmatist, noted that growing is the main thing kids do. Floyd and Archie exchanged a brief, somewhat stiff greeting. Stephanie stood quietly as Floyd encouraged her to give her uncle Archie a great big hug and a kiss. Archie waved the idea away, telling the girl she did not have to do that unless she really wanted to. They all sat down, and the conversation turned to Floyd's plans. He was on his way to Fort Lauderdale, a long trip from where they were. Edith offered the little girl milk, cookies, an apple, or a chance to wash her hands. Stephanie politely declined the food but asked to go to the bathroom. Edith led her away, leaving the two men alone. Archie sat there, feeling the awkwardness of the situation. He asked Floyd how old the girl was, but Floyd seemed unsure. Then Floyd asked for a drink. Archie admitted that the mention of a drunk made him thirsty too. While Stephanie was away, Edith showed Floyd a picture of their own daughter, Gloria, and her little boy, Joey, who was nearly 3 years old. Edith talked about how much they loved kids, though she admitted some people did not. She mentioned Aunt Shirley from Brooklyn and Danvera from Hollis as people who were not fond of children. Stephanie, returning to the room, overheard this and sadly remarked that she did not think her own mother liked kids much either. When her mother went away, she did not take Stephanie with her. She explained that the man her mother went with would not allow it. It was a heartbreaking moment that Edith tried to soften with kindness, offering Stephanie a chance to see Gloria's old room and promising a nice dinner. Then came the real reason for the visit. Floyd confessed that he hated to ask for help, and Archie quickly replied that he hated to give it, especially if it involved money. Floyd clarified that it was not about money. He wanted Archie and Edith to look after Stephanie for a couple of weeks until he got settled in Florida. He promised she would be no trouble. Archie was immediately against the idea. He argued that Edith did not need a helpless child demanding her attention when she already had him to take care of. Archie told Floyd he was barking up the wrong tree. Edith, however, disagreed. She told Floyd they would love to keep Stephanie. This sparked a heated debate between the husband and wife. Archie called the idea insane, arguing that they finally had a peaceful life and he did not want to louse it up with another kid. He reminded Edith that she was an older woman and he was getting older too. He believed kids only complicated life. Floyd, feeling the tension, decided it was time to leave. He gathered Stephanie and their bags, even though Edith invited them to stay for dinner. Floyd insisted they had a bus to catch, feeling that people should not stay where they were not wanted. As they walked toward the door, Stephanie said a quiet goodbye to her Aunt Edith. Archie felt a pang of guilt, but stood by his decision. He told Edith that when people bring kids into the world, they have to raise them themselves. He believed Floyd had learned a valuable lesson about not dumping responsibilities on relatives. However, the lesson did not stick the way Archie hoped. Moments after they left, Floyd returned just long enough to leave Stephanie on the porch with her bags and disappear. Archie was stunned. He tried to call other relatives to take the girl. He looked through old address books and found a name he had forgotten, Luella Lawson at Sunnyfield Farm in Utica. Edith pointed out that Sunnyfield Farm was a place for happy older people, not children. Running out of options, Archie threatened to call the police to find a proper place for Stephanie. Edith pleaded with him not to do it. She refused to give him the phone, leading to a comedic struggle where Archie ended up sitting on a stool while Edith held the phone away from him. Archie tried to reason with her, suggesting they vote on the matter like the government does. He voted for the kid to go, and Edith voted for her to stay. When Archie tried to claim the tie-breaking vote as the president of the House, Edith reminded him that she never voted for him. Reluctantly, Archie gave in. They would keep her for 2 weeks. Edith immediately began planning, realizing she needed to leave a note for the milkman for 2 extra quarts of homogenized milk and some yogurt. Archie grumbled about the yogurt, but settled in to watch his hockey game on the television. He watched as the players on the screen fought for the puck, shouting encouragement to the home team. Suddenly, Edith came into the room, her face pale. She announced that Stephanie was gone. Archie assumed she meant a relative had picked her up, but Edith explained that the girl had run away. She had taken her suitcase and disappeared into the night. Archie was struck by a rare moment of genuine concern. He realized the girl was all alone. Edith suspected she might be heading to the bus station to try and follow her father to Fort Lauderdale. Archie rushed to the bus station. The terminal was busy with people coming and going. An announcer called out the stops for the various lines: Elizabeth, Hillside, Linden, and others. Archie scanned the crowd and finally spotted a small figure hiding behind a magazine. He approached her, using his usual blustering tone to hide his worry. He told her she should not have run away because it made him look bad. He joked about the police shining lights in her face or taking her dolly to make her talk. He even joked that he could get 5 to 10 years in prison. Stephanie looked at him and asked what Aunt Edith would do without a husband. Archie said she would probably just get another one. Stephanie replied that her own mother had done exactly that. She told Archie that her mother ran away because she was tired of her father's voice and face. Archie was taken aback. He told her that a child should never be told the truth about parents, especially if it was not nice. He suggested her mother could have said she was going away for her health. Stephanie then revealed the darker truth. Her mother could not come back because she had been killed in a car accident. The weight of the girl's loneliness finally hit Archie. He looked at Stephanie, not as an intrusion, but as a child who had nowhere else to go. He told her she could not take a bus because she only had $1.85. Stephanie admitted she hoped someone would notice her and take her to a shelter until her father came back. Archie softened his voice. He told her they would go find a telephone and call Aunt Edith to let her know they were coming home. Stephanie asked if he was still mad at her. Archie lied gently, claiming he was never mad and had even told Edith how nice it would be to have a girl like her around for a few weeks. Stephanie knew it was not true, but she appreciated the gesture. As they walked together toward the exit of the station, Archie promised her a soda and some chewing gum. Stephanie asked for a new comic book, too. Archie sighed, muttering to himself about how all kids are the same, but he led her home, ready to face the next 2 weeks with a little more heart than he had started with. The music of the past seemed to hang in the air like a sweet, lingering perfume, filling the living room with a sense of nostalgia that was both heavy and comforting. Archie and Edith sat together, their voices blending in a familiar harmony that spoke of a time when the world felt simpler and more certain. They sang about the way Glenn Miller played, remembering the melodies that had once made the hit parade with such frequency that it felt as though the music would never end. "Guys like us, we had it made," Archie sang, his voice carrying a gruff but genuine longing for those vanished days. They shared a look of mutual understanding, a silent agreement that those were indeed the days worth remembering. In that era, as they recalled through their song, you knew exactly where you stood. Girls were girls and men were men, and there was no confusion about the roles people played in the grand theater of life. "Mister, we could use a man like Herman Hoover again," they sang together, invoking the spirit of a leader from a time they perceived as more stable. They did not feel the need for a welfare state back then, because everybody pulled his own weight with pride. Even the memories of old Los Alamos ran great in their minds, functioning with a precision that seemed lost in the modern world. As the final notes of their song faded, Edith added a whimsical touch about a little glow light and the concept of glamour, her eyes bright with the joy of the performance. The peaceful atmosphere was soon interrupted by the reality of the present. A voice called out from the doorway, announcing a return home, and Edith responded from the kitchen, her mind already shifting to the practical matters of the evening. Archie, however, was focused on his own priorities. He expressed a desire to eat quickly, his mind set on catching the start of the Rangers and Blackhawks game on the television. He counted the places set at the table. 1, 2, 3, and his suspicion grew. He wondered aloud if they were expecting a deadbeat for dinner, a thought that clearly did not sit well with him. Edith admitted that she was not particularly fond of the upcoming visit either, noting that the company was coming all the way from New Jersey. Archie retorted that he would rather see someone from Red China than someone from Jersey. The conversation turned to the identity of the guest. Edith asked if Archie remembered her Aunt Tessie from her father's side, the one who was once known for having a mustache. She quickly clarified that Elizabeth Arden had taken care of that particular physical trait, but then added that it was not actually Aunt Tessie who was coming. After a bit of confusion regarding who was and was not arriving, Edith explained the complex family connection. The visitor was Floyd, who was the stepson of Tessie from her second marriage. This made him a once-removed nephew-in-law to Archie's father and a twice-removed step-cousin-in-law to Edith herself. Archie was unimpressed by these genealogical gymnastics. He wanted to know what Floyd wanted, suspecting that money was the primary motivation. Edith defended Floyd, saying he was just passing through and had experienced a very sad life. Archie pleaded with her not to tell him the details, but his protest was cut short by a knock at the door. Floyd arrived, accompanied by a young girl named Stephanie. Edith was delighted to see them, welcoming Floyd with open arms and remarking that he was a sight for sore eyes. Archie remained skeptical, watching as they put their bags down. When Edith introduced Stephanie, Archie noted that she had certainly grown, observing that growing is the main thing children do. Edith introduced herself as Aunt Edith and Archie as Uncle Archie. Floyd encouraged Stephanie to give her Uncle Archie a big hug and a kiss, but Archie awkwardly declined, suggesting she only do so if she truly wanted to. As they all sat down, Archie noticed the bags and realized they were on a trip. Floyd explained they were on their way to Fort Lauderdale, which Archie remarked was a nice long way from their current location. Edith offered hospitality in the form of milk, cookies, or an apple, but Stephanie declined them all, asking instead to use the bathroom. Edith led her away, leaving Archie and Floyd alone for a moment. Archie expressed a bit of frustration about the terminology used for the bathroom, but eventually told Floyd he could sit down. Floyd, feeling the pressure of his situation, asked for a drink. Archie, noticing the man's thirst, thought about a bottle he had tucked away. Meanwhile, Edith returned and began showing Stephanie pictures of their family, specifically their daughter Gloria and her little boy Joey, who was nearly 3 years old. Edith spoke of her love for children, though she admitted she knew a few people, like Aunt Shirley from Brooklyn or Dan Vera from Hollis, who did not share that sentiment. Stephanie, in a moment of quiet honesty, mentioned that she did not think her own mother liked children much either, explaining that when her mother went away, she did not take Stephanie with her because the man she was with would not allow it. The true purpose of Floyd's visits soon came to light. He nervously admitted that he hated to ask for help, to which Archie replied that he hated to give it, especially if it involved money. Floyd clarified that it was not about money. He was hoping Archie and Edith could look after Stephanie for a couple of weeks until he got himself settled in Florida. Archie was immediately resistant, arguing that Edith did not need a child demanding her attention when she already had him to look after. He told Floyd he was barking up the wrong tree. Edith, however, felt differently, expressing a willingness to keep Stephanie. A heated debate ensued between Archie and Edith, with Archie arguing that they finally had a peaceful life and did not want to complicate it with a child. He reminded Edith that they were getting older and that children could be a significant disruption. Feeling unwanted, Floyd decided it was time to leave. He told Stephanie to get her things, saying they had a bus to catch. Despite Edith's plea for them to stay for dinner, Floyd insisted that people do not want to eat when their feelings are hurt. They left the house, leaving Archie and Edith alone once more. Archie felt he had taught Floyd a valuable lesson about responsibility, believing that people should raise their own children rather than dumping them on relatives. However, his triumph was short-lived. Moments later, he discovered that Floyd had indeed left Stephanie on their porch before disappearing. Archie was panicked. He tried to call other relatives to take the child, looking through an old address book. He mentioned a woman named Luella Lawson who lived at Sunnyfield Farm in Utica, New York, but Edith pointed out that the farm was a place for older people. Archie felt they were down to their last resort, which was calling the police. Edith begged him not to do it, leading to a physical struggle over the telephone. Archie argued that he could not have a child in the house and that the situation was ridiculous. He eventually proposed a democratic solution, suggesting they take a vote as they do in the government. Archie voted for the child to leave, and Edith voted for her to stay. In the event of a tie, Archie claimed the right of the president to cast the deciding vote, choosing that she should go. However, Edith remained steadfast, and Archie eventually relented, agreeing to let her stay for 2 weeks. He even suggested getting extra milk and yogurt, though he jokingly claimed the yogurt was for the winning vote. As the days passed, the reality of having a young girl in the house began to set in. Archie tried to focus on his sports, watching a hockey game on the television where a player named Gunderson was being particularly aggressive with another player named Levesque. But his focus was shattered when Edith informed him that Stephanie was gone. She had run away, taking her suitcase with her. Edith feared the girl was trying to make her way to Fort Lauderdale on her own. Archie, despite his earlier grumbling, was deeply concerned. He headed down to the bus station, doubting the ability of the police to find a small child when they could not even find famous missing persons. At the bus station, amidst the announcements for buses to Somerset, Elizabeth, and Hillside, Archie searched for the girl. He finally spotted her sitting behind a magazine. He approached her, using humor to mask his worry, telling her she should not have escaped from the hospital with scarlet fever. He told her that running away made him look bad, as it happened from his house. Stephanie promised not to tell on him, but Archie warned her that the police had ways of making people talk, painting a dramatic and slightly absurd picture of what might happen. Stephanie asked what would happen to Archie, and he joked about spending 5 to 10 years in prison. When she suggested Edith could just get another husband, Archie was taken aback, though Stephanie noted her own mother had done exactly that. They began to talk more seriously. Stephanie revealed that her mother had run away because she was tired of her father's voice and face. Archie tried to shield her from this harsh truth, suggesting that children should be told nicer versions of the truth. But Stephanie knew the finality of her mother's situation, stating that she could never come back because she had been killed in a car accident. Archie was silenced by this revelation. He realized the depth of the girl's loneliness and the instability of her life. He told her she could not take the bus that night, and Stephanie admitted she only had $1.85 anyway. She had come to the station hoping someone would notice her and take her to a shelter until her father came for her again. Archie softened. He told her they would find a telephone, call Aunt Edith, and then go home together. He assured her he was not mad and lied gently, saying he had told Edith how nice it would be to have a little girl around for a few weeks. Stephanie, sharp as ever, noted that was not what she had overheard earlier, but Archie dismissed it as eavesdropping. He offered to take her for a soda and some chewing gum, and even agreed to a new comic book. As they walked away, Archie whispered a small prayer or observation to the Lord about how children are made, telling Stephanie not to look at anyone on the way out so she would not catch anything. The complexity of family, the pain of loss, and the unexpected capacity for kindness all converged in that moment at the bus station, as an old man and a young girl began a journey of mutual understanding. The evening air in the Bunker household was thick with the familiar resonance of nostalgia as the worn keys of the piano surrendered to the rhythm of a shared memory. Archie and Edith sat together, their voices blending in a tribute to a time they felt had long since slipped through the fingers of the modern world. They sang of the way Glenn Miller played and the songs that made the hit parade. It was a melody of a simpler era, when guys like them had it made, and those were the days. The lyrics carried the weight of their convictions, echoing the sentiment that back then, a person knew exactly where they stood. Girls were girls and men were men, and in Archie's mind, the world could certainly use a man like Herman Hoover again. They didn't need a welfare state in those days because everybody pulled his weight. Even the old Los Alamos ran great in their memories. As the final notes of the song faded, the glow of the little light remained, casting a glamour over the living room that felt both comforting and stagnant. Archie moved through the house with the heavy tread of a man who had completed his daily labor and sought only the sanctuary of his chair and the flickering blue light of the television. He called out that he was home, and Edith's voice drifted back from the kitchen, confirming her presence in the heart of the home. Archie was in a hurry. He wanted to eat fast because he was determined to pick up the start of the Rangers and Blackhawks game on the television. But as he looked around, something felt off. He counted the places set at the table. 1, 2, 3. His brow furrowed in immediate suspicion. He wondered aloud if they had a deadbeat coming for dinner, noting with his usual bluntness that it certainly was not nice. Edith emerged, her expression a mix of nervous anticipation and her trademark kindness. She agreed that it was not nice and admitted that she hated the situation herself. She revealed that they were expecting company from Jersey. Archie's reaction was instantaneous and predictable. He declared that he would rather see somebody from Red China than someone from Jersey. Edith tried to soften the blow by asking if he remembered her Aunt Tessie on his father's side. Archie groaned, recalling a woman he remembered as Tessie with a mustache. Edith quickly corrected him, noting that Elizabeth Arden had taken care of that particular issue long ago. However, the mystery deepened when she clarified that it was not Aunt Tessie who was coming. Archie, confused, asked if Elizabeth Arden was the one arriving instead. Edith shook her head, explaining that it was not Aunt Tessie who was not coming, but rather Floyd. The conversation spiraled into a dizzying web of family relations. Floyd was Tessie's stepson from her second marriage, which, according to Edith's calculations, made him a once-removed nephew-in-law to Archie's father and a twice-removed step-cousin-in-law to herself. Archie was unimpressed by the complexity of the genealogy. He demanded to know what the hell Floyd wanted with them, suspecting a request for money. Edith reassured him that Floyd was just passing through. Archie scoffed, comparing that phrase to something Jesse James would say while on the move. Edith sighed, remarking on the sadness of Floyd's life and beginning to tell his story. Archie stopped her immediately, pleading that he wanted to know nothing about the man. The sound of the door interrupted them. Archie grumbled that he was already there, while Edith urged him to be nice. Floyd entered, followed by a young girl. Edith greeted him with genuine warmth, exclaiming how nice it was to see him. Floyd complimented Edith, telling her she was a sight for sore eyes as he put his bags down. Archie watched from the sidelines, his eyes narrowing. Floyd introduced the young girl as Stephanie. Edith was shocked, noting that Floyd hadn't mentioned bringing the child. Floyd admitted he wanted it to be a surprise, to which Archie muttered that he knew there would be some kind of surprise. Edith doted on Stephanie, remembering her as a little baby and marveling at how much she had grown. Archie dryly observed that growing was the main thing kids tended to do. Floyd was introduced to Archie, and they exchanged brief, somewhat strained greetings. Stephanie was encouraged to give her Uncle Archie a great big hug and a kiss, but Archie retreated, telling the kid she didn't have to do that unless she really wanted to. The group sat down, and Archie noted the presence of multiple bags. He asked if Floyd was taking a trip, and Floyd confirmed he was on his way to Fort Lauderdale, which Archie noted was a nice long way away. Edith offered the guests various refreshments, from milk and cookies to an apple, all of which Stephanie politely declined. When asked if she wanted to wash her hands, the young girl replied that she would like to go to the John. Edith led her away, announcing their destination with her usual lack of filter. Archie watched them go, grumbling about the terminology and wishing Edith could have taught the girl to say the bathroom or the powder room like educated people. Left alone with Floyd, Archie reluctantly invited him to sit. Floyd admitted he could use a drink, and Archie, feeling a bit punchy himself, went to find a bottle. While Archie was occupied, Edith returned and began talking to Stephanie. She showed the girl a picture of her own daughter, Gloria, and mentioned her grandson, Joey, who was nearly 3. Edith shared stories of singing lullabies, emphasizing how much they loved kids. She mentioned other relatives who didn't share that sentiment, like Aunt Shirley from Brooklyn or Dan Vera from Hollis. Stephanie listened quietly, eventually admitting that she didn't think her own mother liked kids much either. She explained that when her mother went away, she didn't take Stephanie with her because the man she was with wouldn't allow it. Edith's heart broke for the child, and she showed Stephanie to Gloria's room, suggesting she take a nap before a nice dinner. Back in the living room, the atmosphere shifted. Floyd nervously admitted that he hated to ask for help. Archie replied that it was good he felt that way because Archie hated to give it, especially if it involved money. Floyd clarified it wasn't money, which gave Archie a momentary sense of relief. However, the request was far more significant. Floyd wanted Archie and Edith to look after Stephanie for a couple of weeks until he got settled in Florida. Archie was incredulous. He insisted that Edith didn't need a helpless child hanging around and demanding all her attention when she already had him to deal with. When Edith returned, Archie didn't hold back. He told her that Floyd wanted to beat it to Florida and dump his kid on them. Floyd pleaded that it would only be for 2 weeks, maybe 3. Archie told Edith to tell Floyd he was barking up the wrong tree. Instead, Edith's maternal instincts took over, and she declared that they would love to keep Stephanie. Archie was stunned, calling Edith insane and arguing that they finally had a nice, peaceful life that he didn't want to louse up with another kid. He reminded her that they were getting older and that kids changed everything. The tension escalated until Stephanie walked back into the room. Sensing the conflict, she asked if they were getting thrown out again. Archie, in a moment of blunt honesty, confirmed that was exactly what was happening. Floyd, his feelings hurt, decided they would leave immediately, refusing Edith's offer of dinner. They had a bus to catch. Edith watched them go with a heavy heart, while Archie tried to justify his actions. He argued that people who bring kids into the world should raise them themselves and not dump their responsibilities on relatives. However, the victory was short-lived. Moments after they left, Archie discovered that Floyd had indeed dumped his responsibilities, but instead of the living room, he had left Stephanie on the porch and vanished. Archie was frantic. He tried to call a relative named Luella Lawson at Sunnyfield Farm, only to find out from Edith that it was a home for the elderly. With no other options, Archie threatened to call the police. Edith begged him not to, fearing what would happen to the girl. They struggled over the phone, with Archie arguing that he couldn't have the kid in the house and Edith standing her ground. Archie tried to resolve the dispute with a vote, like the government. He voted for the kid to go, and Edith voted for her to stay. When it resulted in a tie, Archie claimed the tie-breaking vote as the president of the house. Edith simply ignored him, mentioning she needed to leave a note for the milkman for extra milk and yogurt. Archie retreated to his chair to watch the hockey game, but his mind wasn't on the sport. The announcer's voice described the violence on the ice, but Archie was interrupted by Edith's panicked cry. Stephanie was gone. She had run away. The realization hit Archie hard. The girl was out there all alone with her suitcase. Edith suspected she was headed for the bus station to follow her father to Fort Lauderdale. Archie rushed out, heading for the station. When he arrived, he scanned the crowd. He saw a young girl hiding behind a magazine and recognized her immediately. He approached her with a mixture of bluster and concern, telling her she shouldn't have run away because it made him look like the bad guy. He joked about the police making her talk or him getting 5 to 10 years in prison. Stephanie looked at him, her eyes wide. She asked what Aunt Edith would do without a husband, and Archie was momentarily speechless when she suggested Edith could just get another one. They began to talk, really talk. Stephanie revealed the truth about her mother, that she had been killed in a car accident and hadn't simply abandoned her. Archie's rough exterior began to crack. He realized the girl had no one and nowhere to go. She explained that she hoped someone would notice her and take her to a shelter until her father came back. Archie looked at the small girl and felt a sudden, unexpected wave of responsibility. He told her they should find a telephone and call Aunt Edith, then go home together. Stephanie asked if he was still mad at her. Archie lied, claiming he was never mad, and had even told Edith how nice it would be to have a little girl around for a few weeks. Stephanie pointed out that wasn't what she had heard him say earlier, but Archie brushed it off, forgiving her for eavesdropping. He offered to buy her a soda, some chewing gum, and even a new comic book. As they walked away together, Archie muttered to himself about the complexities of life, but his hand was firmly on the girl's shoulder, guiding her back toward a home that was no longer just for two. The bus station faded behind them as they stepped out into the night. Archie knew his peaceful life was over for a while, but as he looked at Stephanie, he realized that perhaps those were not just the days of the past, but the beginning of new ones. Back at the house, the piano sat silent, but the warmth was returning. Edith would be waiting with the extra milk and the yogurt, and the Bunker household would navigate this new chapter with the same chaotic, loud, and ultimately enduring love that defined them. Archie led the way, making sure Stephanie didn't catch anything from the strangers in the station, his role as a reluctant guardian officially beginning under the dim streetlights of New York. The walk home was quiet at first, the city noises providing a backdrop to the internal shifts occurring within Archie. He thought about the songs they sang, the old values he clung to, and the reality of the little girl walking beside him. She was a responsibility he hadn't asked for, a disruption to his routine, yet there was something about her resilience that reached a part of him he usually kept well hidden. He thought of Floyd, a man who couldn't handle his own life, and felt a surge of pride that he, Archie Bunker, was the one stepping up, even if he grumbled every step of the way. As they reached the familiar stoop of their house, Archie paused. He looked at the door and then at Stephanie. He told her to go on in and not to make a fuss. Edith was waiting, her face lighting up with a joy that could power the entire neighborhood when she saw them. She didn't say "I told you so," but her smile said everything. She ushered Stephanie toward the kitchen, talking about the dinner she had kept warm. Archie followed, hanging his hat on the rack and settling into his chair. The game was long over, but as he listened to the sounds of Edith and Stephanie in the next room, he realized that for the first time in a long time, the house didn't feel empty or old. It felt full. And in his own way, Archie decided that maybe, just maybe, these were the days after all. The night settled over the neighborhood, the houses standing like silent sentinels of the stories within. Inside the Bunker home, the light stayed on a little longer than usual. There were plans to be made, school enrollments to consider, and the general upheaval of a life shared with a child. Archie complained about the cost of milk, the noise of children's television, and the general state of the world, but he did it with a little less bite. He was a man of his word, and if he had committed to 2 weeks, he would see it through, even if it turned into 3 or 4 or a lifetime. The values of pulling one's weight and looking out for family, even the once-removed nephew-in-law variety, were being put to the test, and Archie Bunker, in his own inimitable style, was proving that the heart of the home was bigger than his grumbling would suggest. The story of Stephanie's arrival was not just a tale of a child in need, but a reminder that change, while often unwelcome and noisy, brings with it a chance for growth. As the clock struck midnight, the house fell into a deep, restful silence. Stephanie was tucked into Gloria's old bed, dreaming of a future that felt a little more secure. Edith was asleep, her heart at peace. And Archie, in his chair, stared at the blank television screen for a long moment before heading upstairs, his footsteps heavy but certain. The world outside was still complicated. The era of Glenn Miller was long gone, but inside these walls, something new and meaningful had taken root. The sun was beginning to set over the quiet streets of the neighborhood, casting long, amber shadows across the familiar brick houses that stood as sentinels of a bygone era. Inside the Bunker household, the air was thick with the scent of a home-cooked dinner and the lingering echoes of a world that Archie Bunker felt was slipping through his fingers. He sat in his favorite chair, the worn fabric molded to his frame after years of use. In his mind, he could still hear the brassy swell of the Glenn Miller Orchestra, playing the songs that had once made the hit parade. Those were the melodies of a simpler time, a time when guys like him felt they truly had it made. It was a period of clarity, when you knew exactly where you stood. In Archie's memory, girls were girls and men were men, and the world seemed to possess a backbone that he found lacking in the modern age. He often thought to himself that the country could use a man like Herbert Hoover once again, someone who understood the value of hard work and individual responsibility. Back then, there was no talk of a welfare state. Every person pulled his own weight, and places like their old Los Alamos ran with a greatness that seemed like a distant dream now. Those were the days he carried in his heart, even as the world outside changed at a dizzying pace. Archie leaned back, the springs of his chair giving a familiar groan. He closed his eyes for a moment, letting the nostalgia wash over him like a warm tide. He could almost see the glow of the little light, the glamour of an age that prized tradition and order. But the reverie was broken by the sound of the front door opening and a voice that always managed to pull him back to the present. "I am home," a voice called out. It was a young voice, full of the energy of the youth that Archie sometimes found exhausting but secretly admired. In the kitchen, Edith called back, her voice a cheerful melody that never seemed to lose its upbeat rhythm, no matter how much Archie grumbled. Archie adjusted his position, his mind already shifting to the evening ahead. "Hey, let us eat fast, will you? I want to pick up the start of the Rangers and Blackhawks game on television," he shouted toward the kitchen. The excitement of the hockey game was one of the few things that could rival his love for a good meal. He stood up and walked toward the table, but as he looked down at the settings, he stopped short. His brow furrowed in confusion. Geez, what is this? 1, 2, 3. He counted the places set at the table, his voice rising with each number. "What? Have we got a deadbeat for dinner?" Edith emerged from the kitchen, her apron tied neatly around her waist, and a look of gentle reproach on her face. "That is not nice, Archie," she said, her voice soft but firm. "You are telling me it is not," Archie retorted, waving a hand at the extra plate. "I hate it. Company from Jersey?" "From Jersey?" Edith asked, her eyes widening. "I would rather see somebody from Red China," Archie muttered, though his heart was not truly in the insult. It was just his way of protesting any change to his evening routine. Edith ignored his grumbling and leaned against the doorframe. "Do you remember my Aunt Tessie on my father's side?" she asked, her eyes twinkling with the memory of family lore. "Oh, gee, who is that?" Archie asked, trying to place the name in the vast and often confusing map of Edith's extended family. "Tessie, with a mustache?" "Not anymore," Edith corrected him with a small smile. Elizabeth Arden took care of that. Anyway, it is not her that is coming. Archie blinked, his confusion deepening. It is not Elizabeth Arden that is coming? No, Edith said, shaking her head. It is not Aunt Tessie that is not coming. It is Floyd. Archie let out a long sigh of exasperation. Oh, Floyd is not coming. No, Floyd is coming, Edith said, her voice rising in a way that suggested she was beginning to get turned around by her own explanation. Gee, I am punchy, Archie said, rubbing his temples. He could feel a headache starting to form behind his eyes. You see, Edith continued, her enthusiasm undimmed, Floyd is Tessie's stepson from her second marriage. That makes him a once-removed nephew-in-law to my father and a twice-removed step-cousin-in-law to me. Archie stared at her for a long moment, trying to process the genealogical gymnastics she had just performed. Well, apart from being such a close relative, what the hell does Floyd want with us? Money? Oh, no, Edith reassured him. He is just passing through. Yeah, that is what Jesse James was always doing, Archie grumbled, just passing through. He had heard that line before, and it rarely ended well for the person hosting the traveler. Oh, my, he has had such a sad life, Edith said, her expression softening with genuine sympathy. Let me tell you what happened to him. No, do not tell me, Edith, please, Archie pleaded, holding up his hands as if to ward off a physical blow. I do not want to know nothing about this guy. At that very moment, a knock sounded at the door. Oh, there he is, Edith cried, her face lighting up with excitement. Already? Archie asked, his shoulders slumped in defeat. Come in, Archie, Edith urged, guiding him toward the door. Be nice. The door opened, and a young man stepped inside, followed by a small, shy girl who seemed to be trying to hide behind his legs. Mommy, the little girl cried out as she saw Edith.
Floyd,
Edith exclaimed, stepping forward to wrap the man in a warm embrace. Oh, it is so nice to see you. Edith, you are a sight for sore eyes, Floyd said, a weary but grateful smile touching his lips. Come on in, Edith said, ushering them into the living room. Put your bags down. Archie, look who is here. I am looking, Archie said, his voice flat but not entirely unkind. Oh, this here is my Stephanie, Floyd said, gently pulling the little girl forward. Stephanie, Edith gasped, her hands flying to her cheeks. You did not tell me you was bringing Stephanie. Well, I wanted it to be a surprise, Floyd admitted. I knew there would be some surprise, Archie muttered under his breath, though the sight of the small child seemed to soften his expression just a fraction. Oh, Stephanie, Edith cooed, kneeling down to the girl's level. I used to know you when you was a little baby, but you grew. Oh my, she really grew. That is the main thing kids do, Archie observed, his voice dry. Oh, excuse me, Floyd, Edith said, remembering her manners. This is Archie. Hi, Arch, Floyd said, offering a hand. Hi there, Floyd, Archie replied, giving the hand a brief, firm shake. I am your Aunt Edith, Edith said to the girl, her voice full of warmth. It is nice to see you, Stephanie whispered, her voice barely audible. I heard a lot about you. Oh, this is your Uncle Archie, Edith said, gesturing toward her husband. Hi there, kiddo, Archie said, trying to find a tone that was neither too loud nor too intimidating. I heard a lot about you, too, Stephanie said, her eyes fixed on Archie with a curious intensity. Stephanie, go give your Uncle Archie a great big hug and a kiss, huh? Floyd suggested. Oh, no. She does not have to do that, Archie said quickly, stepping back a pace. You do not have to do that, kid. Not unless you really want to. Thank you, Stephanie said, appearing relieved by the reprieve. Well, come on, let us everybody sit down, Edith said, gesturing toward the sofa. Well, you got bags. You taking the trip, huh? Oh, yeah, Floyd said, his voice taking on a nervous edge. I am on my way to Fort Lauderdale. Oh, that is a nice long way, yeah, Edith said, nodding her head in approval. Would you like some milk and cookies? No, thanks, Floyd said. Would you like an apple? Edith asked. No, thanks, Floyd repeated. Would you like to wash your hands, or anything? Edith persisted, her maternal instincts in full swing. No, thanks, but I would like to go to the John, Stephanie said, her small voice cutting through the conversation. Well, come on, Edith said, standing up. I will show you where it is. We are going to the John. Oh, I hope, Archie muttered to himself as he watched them disappear down the hallway. We are going to the John. You think you could have taught her to say Charlotte like educated people? He called out after them. I do the best I can. Edith's voice drifted back from the hall. Well, you missed, Archie said, though there was no one left in the room to hear him but Floyd. Well, you might as well sit down if you want to. Gee, thanks, Floyd said, sinking into a chair with a heavy sigh. Archie looked at the man, noting the lines of exhaustion around his eyes. But how old are we? Not in that stuff? He asked, gesturing vaguely toward the hallway where Stephanie had gone. I do not know, Floyd admitted, his voice sounding hollow. Gee, I hope you do not mind, Arch, but I think I could use a drink, Floyd said, his eyes searching Archie's for a sign of understanding. No, I do not mind, Archie said, his voice softening. I think I got a bottle of… Oh, geez. The drunk has got me thirsty just thinking about it. As Archie went to find the bottle, Edith returned to the room, her face beaming. Do you like kids? She asked, looking at Floyd but clearly directing the question toward the general atmosphere of the room. Oh, I love kids, Floyd said with a faint smile. Does Uncle Archie like them? Oh, sure he does, Edith said, her voice full of conviction. We got a kid of our own, Gloria. I will show you a picture of her. You met her at Aunt Shirley's apartment in Brooklyn once, because she is all grown up now. She pulled a framed photograph from a side table and held it out for Floyd to see. There she is, and that is her little boy, Joey. He is nearly 3. I used to sing him a lullaby every night, and as soon as I stopped singing, he went right off to sleep. So you see, we love kids. Some people do not, Floyd said, his voice taking on a somber tone. Oh, I do not know anybody that does not like kids, Edith said, her brow furrowing in disbelief. You know Aunt Shirley from Brooklyn? Floyd asked. Oh, yeah, that is true, Edith admitted. And Dan Vera from Hollis? Floyd continued. Oh, yeah, her, too, Edith sighed. They do not like kids, Floyd said. They even said so to me. I do not think my mother liked kids much, either. You must not say that, Edith said, her voice gentle but firm. When she went away, she did not take me with her, Floyd said, his voice cracking slightly. Well, maybe she wanted to, but she could not, Edith offered, searching for a way to comfort him. She said the man she went with would not let her, Floyd said, his gaze dropping to his lap. At that moment, Stephanie returned to the room, her eyes wide as she looked around the unfamiliar surroundings. Can I see Gloria's room? She asked. Oh, this is Gloria's room, Edith said, leading the girl toward a door. You can take a nap in here before dinner if you want to. Are we going to have dinner? Stephanie asked, her voice hopeful. Oh, sure, Edith promised. We're going to have a real nice dinner, because you are a real nice little girl. As Stephanie disappeared into the bedroom, Floyd turned to Archie, his expression earnest. So, anyway, gee, I hate to ask for help. Well, that is good because I hate to give it, Archie said, his defensive walls going back up. Especially if it is money. Oh, no, it's not money, Floyd said quickly. Oh, well, then you got a chance, Archie said, leaning forward. What is it? Well, see, I was sort of hoping that maybe you could look after Stephanie for me for a couple of weeks, Floyd said, the words coming out in a rush. Archie stared at him, his mouth agape. You had a better chance for money, he finally managed to say. It is just till I get set, Floyd pleaded. I mean, she will not be no trouble at all. Oh, quit your kidding, will you, Floyd? Archie said, standing up and pacing the small room. Listen, Edith does not need no helpless child hanging around demanding all her attention. She has got me. What are you two talking about? Edith asked, re-entering the room and looking between the two men. Oh, this guy here, Archie said, gesturing toward Floyd. He wants to beat it to Florida and dump his kid on us. It is just for 2 weeks, maybe 3, Floyd said, looking at Edith with pleading eyes. No, 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 Archie said, shaking his head vigorously. Edith, Edith, tell Floyd he is barking up the wrong tree. You are barking up the wrong tree, Edith repeated, though her eyes were filled with a different kind of light than Archie's. You hide the boss. We would love to keep Stephanie. Hey, 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 Archie shouted, his face turning a shade of red that matched the curtains. Oh, Edith, you are insane. Hey, hey, Floyd. You are insane. The Pope give us enough saints. Are you nuts? You are, Edith said simply, her gaze steady. Oh, no. Archie groaned. Then do not be acting like a nut, will you? We finally got a nice, peaceful life going here. You want to louse it up with another kid? But it is only for 2 weeks, Edith said. 3 at the most. Edith, shoo, Archie hissed. Edith, have pity on yourself, will you? You are an older woman. Can you not face that? And I am getting there pretty fast myself. Kids, louse up your life, Dan. We have not got that much left. Are we getting thrown out again? Stephanie asked, her voice small and trembling as she stood in the doorway of the bedroom. Yeah, Archie said, his frustration boiling over. That is exactly what we are getting. Come on, get your stuff. Well, wait a minute, Edith said, her voice filled with distress. Are you not going to stay for dinner? No, Floyd said, his voice cold. People do not want to eat when their feelings are hurt. Never mind, Edith. We got a bus to catch. Well, I hope you can manage, Floyd, Edith said, her heart breaking for the little girl who looked so lost. Oh, do not worry, Edith, Floyd said, his jaw set in a hard line. I will manage. I got it all worked out. This is it, kid. Let us go. Oh, well, Steffi, Edith said, kneeling down to give the girl one last hug. I am sorry. I hope we see each other again real soon. We will, Aunt Edith, Stephanie said, her voice a whisper of hope. Archie watched them leave, his arms crossed over his chest. Now, do not be giving me that look, he said to Edith as the door closed behind them. I am sorry I made you feel bad, but I am not sorry for what I done. Oh, listen. Edith, when people bring kids into this world, they got to raise them themselves there. But they're not going to do that if they can find kind and dopey relatives who are going to do it for them. Get that? Your cousin Floyd, he learned a good lesson here today. He learned that he cannot dump his responsibilities in our living room. He walked over to the window and looked out, but what he saw made his heart skip a beat. Oh, holy cow, Archie breathed. Floyd learned fast, Edith. He dumped his responsibilities on our porch. He rushed to the door and pulled it open. Stephanie was sitting on her suitcase, her head bowed and her small shoulders shaking with silent sobs. Archie looked around, but Floyd was nowhere to be seen. Oh, Archie said, his voice uncharacteristically soft. Wait a minute. Now, wait a minute, Waldo. He went to the telephone and began dialing with frantic energy. Listen, all I am asking to do is take care of this little kid just for 2 weeks till her daddy comes back. Hello? He waited a moment, then slammed the receiver down in disgust. Oh, you lousy bum. Would not do nothing for a helpless little child. Do not shush me, he said to Edith, who was trying to comfort Stephanie. Geez, your relatives are selfish. Stephanie is taking a nap, Edith said a short while later, after they had settled the girl into Gloria's old room. Oh, Edith, we are running out of relatives here, Archie said, his voice tired. That is all. Then we just have to face it, Edith said, her voice quiet but resolute. We got a nice little girl on our hands for 2 weeks, maybe 3. Oh, geez, Archie sighed. Well, I do not know. Hold it. Here is one I missed. He pulled a dusty address book from a drawer and began leafing through it. Who is this? Lawson L. Luella Lawson. I have not thought about her for years. Well, geez, Edith, think about her now, will you, huh? Her address is right here. Sunnyfield Farm, Utica, New York there. Sunnyfield Farm, Edith said, her eyes lighting up. That sounds like a swell place for kids. Oh no, Archie said, shaking his head. That is for older people, and they're all, kind of happy. Well, Edith, that is it, Archie said, closing the book with a thud. We are down to the bottom of the barrel, which means the cops. I got to call. Oh no, please do not do that, Edith pleaded. What are you going to do? The cops will know exactly who I should call, Archie said, reaching for the phone. Oh no, Edith said, stepping in front of him. Edith, 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 Edith. I cannot have this kid in this house. Oh no. Edith, Edith, give me the phone. No, Edith cried, holding the telephone behind her back. No, you are not going to do it. No, Archie said, trying to reach around her. Edith, Edith, come on, give me the phone. Give me the phone, Edith. Give me the... He stopped, suddenly aware of how they must look, scuffling over a telephone in the middle of their living room. Edith, do you realize how this would look if a neighbor strolled in here? I am not ashamed of what I am doing, Edith said, her chin set in a stubborn line. Eat the back of my knee, Edith, Archie muttered, though there was no real heat in the words. All right. I give up. Come on, get me out of this thing here. Oh my God. He sat down heavily on a stool, his head in his hands. Give me the phone, Archie said, but his voice lacked conviction. Edith, this is ridiculous. You know that I am going to get that phone call someplace else, Edith, even if I have to go down to the bar or run down to the gas station. I mean, this is so stupid. I am going to do it, Edith. I am going to do it. I do not know why you are putting me on this stool. What are you going to do to me, Archie? Edith asked, her voice filled with a sudden, quiet dignity. Listen, Archie said, looking up at her. Let us do not fight about this thing, huh? I mean, why cannot we do what they do in the United States government when they have a disagreement? You know, they vote on it. Oh, yeah, all right, Edith agreed. Yeah, all right, so we take a vote, all right? All right, Archie said, clearing his throat. I vote the kid goes. And I vote that she stays, Edith said immediately. Which is a tie, Archie noted. And in the case of a tie, the president always casts a deciding vote. I vote she goes. Are you the president? Edith asked, her eyes narrowed. I mean, if I thought you knew that, Archie began, but Edith cut him off. Well, I did not vote for you, she said. Well, that is what you are thinking, Archie said, though he knew he had lost the argument the moment it began. 2 weeks, Edith said, her voice soft but final. 2 weeks. Oh, I got to remember to leave a note for the milkman. I do not understand, Archie muttered. 2 extra quarts of homogenized milk, Edith said, already planning the days ahead. And some yogurt. I take yogurt. For that winning vote, Archie said, a small, grudging smile touching his lips. He turned on the television, trying to lose himself in the familiar rhythm of the hockey game. Now Gunderson for the home team checks them into the boards, the announcer shouted. He is digging the end of a stick in Levesque's ribs. He splits Levesque's rib with a neat blow from the business end of the stick. Give it to him, Gunderson, Archie yelled at the screen. Hey, pay him back for that earlobe, he bit off. Hey, this guy Levesque just got married. I hope there is enough of him left to take home. The phone rang, and Archie picked it up, without taking his eyes from the screen. Archie's place, he said. Archie, Stephanie is gone. Edith's voice cried out from the other end of the line. Why, the roadman come and get her? Archie asked, his heart sinking. No. She ran away, Edith sobbed. She is out there all alone. Oh, my God, all alone? Archie said, the hockey game forgotten. She took her suitcase and ran away, Edith said. She took her suitcase and ran away? Archie repeated, his mind racing. Who took her suitcase and ran away? They took her suitcase and ran away, Edith said, her voice frantic. Call the police. Do not tell me what to do, Harry, huh? Archie said to the television, then realized his mistake. Edith, call the police. Archie, I think she is on her way to Fort Lauderdale, Edith said. Would you go down to the bus station? I will stay here in case she decides to come back. And call me, Archie, if you find her. I will call you, Archie promised. Call me if you do not find her, Edith added. The number is Ravenswood. Edith, I know her phone number, Archie interrupted. I will call you. Goodbye. He hung up the phone and looked at his friend Harry, who had been watching the game with him. Okay, Harry, Take over, Archie said. I got to get down to the bus station. Why do not you leave it to the cops? Harry asked. The cops? Archie said, grabbing his coat. The cops cannot find a big guy like Jimmy Hopper. How are they going to find a little guy? The bus station was a cavernous, echoing space, filled with the smell of diesel fumes and the tired faces of travelers. Archie moved through the crowd, his eyes searching for a small girl with a large suitcase. Hi there, Chief, a man called out as Archie passed. Want some fun? I do not like fun, Archie snapped. I am a maniac. He checked the departure board. Right over there, a voice said over the loudspeaker. 8:30, Somerset Line. Westerfield route. Stopping at Elizabeth, Hillside, Linden, Russell Park, Cranford, Westfield. Now boarding on ramp 12. Archie scanned the rows of plastic chairs, and then he saw it. A large magazine was being held up, but behind it, he could see a pair of small, sturdy shoes. Hey, you gonna keep sitting there? Archie asked, stepping closer. Excuse me, a voice said from behind the magazine. Hey, kiddo, you never should have escaped from that dying end hospital with that raging scarlet fever, Archie said, his voice filled with a rough kind of tenderness. He waited, but there was no response. All right, is that you behind that magazine? No, the voice said. What do you mean no? Archie asked. That is you. Come on now. Hey, you had an order to run away from home that way tonight. See, because that puts me in the wrong. That is my house, you run away from there. It means that I am contributing to the what do you call on the license of a child. I mean, I could get in big trouble. I would not tell on you, Stephanie said, lowering the magazine just enough to peer over the top. Oh, hey, listen, kiddo. The cops got ways of making you talk, Archie said, sitting down in the chair next to her. How? Stephanie asked, her eyes wide. Oh, I do not know, maybe. Maybe they would shine a light in your face all night, you know, Archie said, leaning in. Or maybe one of them hold your dolly, while two more would knock you around a while. What would they do to you? Stephanie asked, her voice trembling. Oh, I could get time, you know, Archie said, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. Maybe 5 to 10 years up in Dannemora, where I would probably lead a bunch of tough guys trying to bust out, you know. And I would get mowed down by the screws. And then, what would your Aunt Edith do with no husband? Get another one, Stephanie suggested. Whoa, 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 Archie said, taken aback. What do you think? A woman can get another man like that? My mother did, Stephanie said, her voice flat. Hey, listen, why did your mother run away from your father? Archie asked, his curiosity getting the better of him. She told me she got tired of hearing his voice and looking at his face, Stephanie said. Oh, geez, Archie breathed. Well, your mother had no right to tell you a thing like that. Why not? Stephanie asked. Because a child should never be told the truth, Archie said, his voice firm. Especially about parents. I mean, she could have told you something nice. She could have said that she went away for a while on a trip for her health, you know. And then later on, when she came back, she could tell you that she got better. She could not come back, Stephanie said, her eyes filling with tears. Why not? Archie asked. She was killed in a car accident, Stephanie whispered. The silence that followed was heavy with a weight that Archie had not expected to carry that night. He looked at the small girl, really looked at her, and saw the immense bravery it took for her to be sitting there all alone. Well, Archie said, clearing his throat. Listen, Rosemary. Stephanie, she corrected him. Oh, whatever, Archie said, waving a hand. You cannot take no bus tonight. I know, Stephanie said. I only got $1.85. Then why did you come to the bus station? Archie asked. After a while, somebody notices me, Stephanie explained, and they take me to the children's shelter. And then in a few months, my father comes and gets me again. Well, why did he not leave you in the shelter in the first place? Archie asked. He is not allowed to, Stephanie said. The loudspeaker crackled to life again. 9 o'clock, short line bus. For Gypsy route, stopping at Paramus, Newport, Fishkill. For Gypsy, now boarding on ramp 2. I will tell you what we do, kiddo, Archie said, standing up and offering his hand. You and me, we go find a telephone and call up your Aunt Edith, and then the two of us, we go on home. Huh? Are you not still mad at me? Stephanie asked, looking up at him with wide, uncertain eyes. When was I ever mad at you? Archie asked, his voice filled with a genuine warmth that he rarely allowed anyone to see. I was just saying to your Aunt Edith tonight, would it not be nice to have a little girl like you around the house for a couple of weeks? That is not what I heard you say, Stephanie said, a small smile touching her lips. Hey, listen, Archie said, his face reddening slightly. If you was eavesdropping, that there is a very defensive thing to do. But this time, I forgive you. Now why do not you say you and me, we go and have a soda, huh? And some chewing gum too? Stephanie asked, her spirit beginning to return. Yeah, sure, Archie said, picking up her suitcase. Okay, Stephanie said, slipping her hand into his. Okay, come on, we go, huh? Archie said, leading her toward the exit. Can I have a new comic book too? Stephanie asked as they walked. Oh, geez, Archie sighed, though there was no longer any annoyance in his voice. You make them all the same, Lord. He paused at the door, looking back at the bustling station one last time. Do not look at nobody going out, hear me? Archie warned the girl. You might catch something. And with that, the two of them stepped out into the night, heading back toward the house on 76th Street, where the lights were always on and the memories of the good old days were slowly being joined by the promise of something new. The journey home was quiet, but it was a comfortable silence. Archie found himself thinking about the importance of family, not just the one you are born into, but the one you choose to take care of. He knew that the next 2 weeks would be a challenge, filled with questions he might not have the answers to and a disruption to his routine that he would likely grumble about every single day. But as he felt the small hand resting in his, he knew that Edith was right. Some things were more important than a peaceful life. Some things were worth the noise, the mess, and the occasional headache. When they finally arrived back at the house, Edith was waiting on the porch, her face filled with an expression of pure joy as she saw them walking up the sidewalk together. She did not say a word, but the hug she gave Stephanie spoke volumes. And as Archie walked past them into the living room, he found himself humming a tune he had not thought of in years. It was a song from the hit parade, a melody from a time when he thought he had it all figured out. But as he sat down in his chair and looked at the two of them, he realized that perhaps the best days were still ahead of them, one soda and one comic book at a time.